What's going on, everybody? Welcome into today's show. We're going to be discussing if the Bulls should sign Rudy Gay with their final roster spot. They made two roster moves this past Friday with re-signing Ayo Dosunmu to a 3-year, $21 million deal. And then they also brought in Onuralp Bitim, the Turkish phenom is what we are calling him on the channel. My name is Patrick Siepman. Welcome into the Bulls Report. We got a loaded show for you guys coming your way, and just happy Sunday. I will say this before we get into it. I am self-producing today's video, so if you guys see me looking down or just kind of taking an extra second here, the transition from graphic to graphic, take it with a grain of salt here, a little light here at the Chat Sports offices on this Sunday, but hey, doesn't mean we don't have a challenge from our bosses. My bosses, before I hopped in here, they challenged Bulls fans. They said, let's see what the Bulls fans are all about. Hit that like button. They challenged us to see if we can hit 200 likes on today's video. So if you guys want to help me out, just make me look good for my bosses and just make Bulls fans look good to our bosses at the Chat Sports Studios. Help me out and like today's video. But the first story, like I said at the top half of today's show, we're going to be discussing Rudy Gay, if he could be a good fit for the Chicago Bulls. Just kind of going an in-depth breakdown on him because the Bulls, they got one more roster spot to fill out, and I don't expect them to kind of make a big-time move like a Grant Williams or a P.J. Washington. I expect maybe them to get a vet min guy like a Rudy Gay. This is what Michael Scotto had to say about the Bulls possibly be bringing in Rudy Gay with their final roster spot in this free agency period. He said, veteran forward Rudy Gay is expected to draw interest from several playoff caliber teams, including the Golden State Warriors, Los Angeles Lakers, Dallas Mavericks, New Orleans Pelicans, and the Chicago Bulls. Gay was healthy last season, minus a finger joint sprain that sidelined him for 2 weeks, and a member of Utah's rotation through most of last season. So the Bulls, they have interest in Rudy Gay. Obviously, that's what Scotto said right there. And do I think it could be a good fit with the Chicago Bulls? Let's dive into it. But a little bit about Rudy Gay right now. He is 36 years old. He is 6'8", 7'3" wingspan, and he is a NBA 2K legend. I was joking around about this with a couple of the guys here at the offices. Like, if you know type of situation with Rudy Gay, where it's kind of like, if you understand how good this guy was on 2K back in the day, I know it's a video game, but that 3-and-D archetype, playing with Gerald Green, Rudy Gay, those are some of my favorite players to play with. But again, that was 2K14, and we are in the season heading into the 2023 NBA season, and Rudy Gay, he is kind of cooked. I love his size. I love the 6'8" frame. I love the 7'3" wingspan. Obviously, that entices me as a Bulls fan, and plus just him being a versatile defender on the wing spot, I think it could really help this Bulls team. But Rudy Gay, he's just not the same guy as he was in his previous kind of run here in the NBA. If we're looking at some of his advanced shooting numbers this year, this is the number one concern to me, is the catch-and-shoot three-point percentage, sitting at 24.8. Listen, most of the time in the modern-day NBA, a lot of these guys, like, the best players control the ball for a majority of the shot clock. We know this, and that's going to be Zach LaVine, that's going to be DeMar DeRozan. So you need your role players. I think catch-and-shoot three-point shooting ability is one of the number one things I would circle for, like, if a role player has this, I'm intrigued. If they don't, I'm kind of out. And last season, he was terrible. I mean, 24.8%, hitting a fourth of his three-point shots in a catch-and-shoot situation. His pull-up field goal percentage was 44.1. Less than 10 feet field goal percentage from the free throw line down. He sat at 51.4, which is actually not as good as you may think. Normally, the league average sits around, high 50s for that, and he was at 51.4. Overall shooting percentage at 43.7. Overall, Rudy Gay, we've seen the efficiency kind of take a step back from him this past season, but he could still offer some value as a, versatile wing defender. But I ask you guys this question. Do you want the Bulls to sign Rudy Gay? I'll be giving you guys my thoughts here in a second, but this is going to be the pinned comment on today's video because I am very intrigued to see what you guys would have to say. So give me an extra sign or give me a P for pass if you would bring Rudy Gay to the Chicago Bulls. I would pass. I would have to honestly just, let this opportunity slide by for the Bulls. I understand Rudy Gay, listen, back in his heyday, he was one of my favorite players to watch play basketball, but he's just not the same guy anymore. And he's kind of seen the, kind of defensive, prowess that he used to have is not the same. And obviously the offensive ability is not nearly what it once was. I mean, look at the stats over the past 4 seasons. The number one thing that should jump out to you right now is the three-point field goal percentage. And like I just said, role players in the NBA, they have to have that catch-and-shoot three ability. Like, even if you're a guy like Bruce Brown, who we've seen for the Nuggets this past season, like, he having the ability to knock down that wide-open three-point shot just helps your stars immensely. It opens up driving lanes. It just creates more spacing on the floor. And Rudy Gay, I just don't think he has that in him anymore. I mean, last season, 25.2 from deep. The season before, 34.5. Not bad when he was with the San Antonio Spurs, almost averaging 12 a game and averaging 38.1% from deep that year. That's not bad at all. But is he that same guy? No. So that's why I would overall be out on the Bulls signing Rudy Gay. I wish they would go maybe a different direction at that spot. I'm all in for bringing in a veteran that can, stretch the floor, play some versatile defense. But the thing is with Rudy Gay, he just doesn't really do that at a high level anymore. So that's why I'll be out. The numbers don't lie, and I just think the eye test also doesn't lie with Rudy as well. But second topic on today's show, the Bulls signed Onuralp Bitim from Turkey yesterday, and he signed him to a two-way deal for the Bulls. So we're going to be breaking down kind of my thoughts. I was able to kind of watch a lot more film than I was yesterday. I don't know if you guys saw the video on the channel, but I was able to that was just me going off a couple highlight videos and everything. But now I was able to watch a couple, full games here of him playing at his times in Turkey. And I'm honestly a big fan of this guy. Just kind of get to know him a little bit. He is 24 years old. He is 6'6", 215 pounds. Obviously played in Turkey. And the one note that I have right away, he has that dog in him. There's a picture that's kind of going viral on Bulls Twitter right now. And it's him after he got absolutely elbowed in the eye. And he's got blood running down his face. And he just looks like an absolute badass. But when I'm watching his game, I'm a big fan of it. Like, do I expect him to, fully crack this rotation? No, by any means. I mean, he was signed to a two-way deal for a reason. But, when I'm watching his game, he's got sneaky bounce. Like, he's got sneaky athletic ability. The highlight video that I was watching, I mean, he had about 3 or 4 360 dunks in an entire season. He's got a little hang grazer, put back dunk as well, rim grazers, whatever you want to call him. But Bitim, I mean, he is a sneaky athlete. He's also a sneaky playmaker as well for a 6'6" size. A lot of times he gets to the lane, kicks it out to open shooters, or he has that nice little drop off to his big man when he was playing. But his numbers this past season, it's the efficiency for me. The efficiency speaks numbers here. In Turkey, we've heard guys like Luka, Jokic, they all talk about it. It's harder to score overseas than to score in the modern day NBA. And Bitim overseas, he was fantastic, almost averaging 20 a game on really, really solid efficiency. I mean, 46.2% from the field and then 40.1% from deep. I think he's going to be able to translate that efficiency to the NBA, and I sure hope he does, because if he does that and he's a 40% three-point shooter with that 6'6" size, we could see him really crack this rotation for the Chicago Bulls. But my overall breakdown with this, I'm a big fan of his grit and his grind. That's the number one thing that pops out to me. When you're watching his game, you can see the intensity. You can see the passion. You can see the love he has for the game. And I really do believe he can somehow work his way into this rotation. I do think the Bulls are very, guard heavy on this roster, but they could use more size at that guard spot. We got Javon Carter, Ayo. These guys are around that 6'2", 6'4", kind of frame. But Bitim with this 6'6" kind of archetype here, I think he could be a huge addition to this Bulls team, and obviously he ends up working out. That could just be another sneaky move by AKME when they brought him in. So overall, I'm a big fan of his grit and his grind. I'm excited to see him watch during preseason. I think that's when we'll get a better understanding on how his game translates to the NBA. But kind of to wrap up my thoughts on these overseas players a little bit here, you look at the top players in the NBA right now, everybody, they all come from overseas. They all are international players like Luka, Jokic, Giannis, Embiid, even though he's from Canada, but still not from the States. I think these guys are, I think they're just kind of taking a step up in the basketball world, and I think we're starting to see it. And with guys like, Bitim obviously getting a two-way contract from the Bulls, I'm excited to see what he's got. Obviously, a lot more breakdown and analysis is going to have to come from when we actually watch him play preseason basketball, because it is tough to kind of just see how his game will translate just from your eyes, from watching his games playing in Turkey, see, kind of understanding how he would play in the States. But Bulls free agency, pretty much wrapping up. They got one more roster spot left here to fill out. But ask you guys, grade the Bulls free agency period. Give me an A, B, C, D, or F down in the comment section. I'm saying May moves, Javon Carter, bringing back Nikola Vucevic, excuse me, and then also re-signing Ayo Dosunmu, bringing in guys like Torrey Craig. Let me know how they did. A, B, C, D, or F. I would give it a B+. Like, I am a fan of what the Bulls have done during this free agency period. Like, I understand a lot of people can, disagree with the sentiment or the perspective of them wanting to go all in and kind of, not rebuilding, but kind of, revamping this roster and trying to win games next season. And a lot of people disagree with that. And, yeah, there is a cap on how far this Bulls team can go in the playoffs. Like, by no means will I think they're going to make a run for the NBA championship with the additions of Javon Carter and Torrey Craig. But it wouldn't shock me if the Bulls, somehow make their way to the playoffs as a 6th seed and somehow shock the New York Knicks or Boston Celtics in the first round. I think they have that potential because if you talk about the ability of, having elite scorers in DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine, what do you want to do with guys like that? You want to surround them with very solid 3-and-D guys, and that's what the Bulls have done. Torrey Craig, Javon Carter, those are guys that are going to get you better on the margin. They're just going to allow the Bulls to just be a better overall three-point shooting team. I showed the stats on the show before. The Bulls were 4th in field goal percentage this past season. And they only average, I think they're 22nd in points per game. It's a volume thing with this team. I think they're going to be putting up a lot more threes in comparison to last season. I think it's only going to help them out. So overall, I would give it a B+. I'm a fan of what they've done. But thank you guys so much for watching today's show. I appreciate you guys being patient with me. Obviously self-producing this, so it kind of takes me a little bit takes a little more effort and just a little more concentration. So I do appreciate you guys kind of, sticking along with me all the way to the end. And if you guys made it all the way to the end, give me a C red down in the comment section. See you guys next time. Go Bulls.